How did you get involved with the march? What was kind of the moment that brought you here?
I've been an activist for 50 years, and I've been an environmental activist, among other things. And then I read Naomi Klein's book, This Changes Everything. It's about the climate, and it did change me. It changed everything about my life. You know, I'm going on to 78, and I sort of thought, well, I guess the kind of fire in the belly, going to the barricades, being willing to get arrested, I guess those days are over. You know, I'd find myself reading about species going extinct and so forth, and I would get really mad, and I'd say to my boyfriend, you know, we don't deserve to survive. I mean, what we're doing is just so awful. I read Naomi's book and I said, that's a bad attitude. I'm going to stop saying we don't deserve, and I'm going to get out there and go back to the barricades. You know, I want my grandchildren to look back and say, Grandma was on the right side. She did everything she could to make things better in the future, because they're not going to have a future unless we do something about it. You know what also happened? Same time as I read Naomi's book, President Obama gave permission to Shell Oil to drill in the Arctic.
Right.
And it was like the bottom of my heart dropped out. You know, I like him, and he's done good things for the environment, but how he could have done that, I just cannot fathom.
What we need is total transformation.
What can we do as people on the ground to affect change when so much of it involves politicians?
Yeah. We cannot rely on politicians. Ideally, what we try to do is get the best that we can get elected to office. We have to look very carefully at which ones don't take money from the fossil fuel industry. But the only thing that will really make a difference is pressure from the ground. That's always what's changed things. You know, slavery ended because of organization on the ground and the people who just said, this is it, it's over, we're not going to do it anymore. Civil rights, the Vietnam War, all of these things happened because of mobilization of masses of people on the ground. Germany will soon have 50% of its energy, renewable energy, and that's because of mass mobilization on the ground and a powerful Green Party. All the changes that matter happen because people power on the ground. And it's one reason why this march today, and all marches and rallies, are important.
And what advice do you have for the young emerging activists who are here today?
If you're someone who wants everybody to love you, it's really hard to be an activist, because you're always going to be making some people mad. You know, you just have to feel in your gut, in your heart, I know who I am, I know that this is the right thing to do. I had dinner last night with David Suzuki, and he's not very much older than I am, and we were saying, you know, we have this feeling like, what have we got to lose? Do you know what I mean? It's like we've been through it, and now we can give more of ourselves than we ever have before.
They are saying we don't have to choose between the environment and the economy. That is a false choice.
Older people have to be ready to fight and die ahead of young people, because it's our fault. I mean, it's great that there are going to be young people at this march. I'm glad that my grandson is with me. I don't want them to feel that, you know, it's all on their shoulders. That's a terrible responsibility.
And what's next for you in your role as a climate activist?
I'm going to go to Paris for the climate summit in December.
And what do you hope to see happen there?
You know, again, I don't hold out a lot of hope for those bureaucracies that are there, that they're ever going to do anything that really is going to be decisive. But we have to be as many people in the streets as possible to let them know that we're watching. And if they don't do it right, then we're going to pressure them until they do, and we're going to just make it happen. And I think we can. I think it's going to be a big deal.
Doing away with the fossil fuel-based economy will create more jobs, more democracy, and more justice. And I'm here to support that message. Thank you very much.